Hello and welcome to the Craft Beer Corner. For today's beer review, we're jumping into a collaborative beer brewed in a combination of Fremont Brewing Company and Bale Breaker Brewing Company. Two craft beer behemoths up in the Pacific Northwest, Fremont based in Seattle, Bale Breaker based in Yakima. I've had a lot of both of their beers and they are some of my absolute favorites. Of course, Fremont and Bale Breaker being right up there in the Pacific Northwest hop belt, they tend to have really great beers that they put out with really fresh hops. So today's beer in question is called Cultivision, and it is one of a new sub-styles of IPA called a cold IPA. This one clocks in at 7.5% ABV, and it's brewed with a laundry list of hops: Simcoe, HBC 586, HBC 630, and YCH Cryo Trial Mosaic hops. So we've got a pretty big list here of some big American hops here. In terms of label art, very cool actually. It's got the Fremont bird on top of the Bale Breaker tractor. So they're clearly and proudly establishing their joint venture on brewing this beer. If you recognize their logos, then you would know it immediately without me even telling you. So before we even get this cracked and jump into it, let's talk about cold IPA. What's cold IPA? Well, it's produced at colder temperatures. Ales are made with top fermenting yeast that feed at warmer temperatures. Lagers are brewed with bottom fermenting yeast that feed and activate at colder temperatures. So the cold IPA came about as kind of a hybrid style, wanting to take that kind of clean quality that you get from a lager and convert it into an IPA, an India Pale Ale. So typically how these are done are colder temperatures, and they may also use some lager yeast as well as ale yeast in the mix, or just entirely use lager yeast. So they're making kind of its own separate animal. I think I might have had one cold IPA before, but it's been a while. So yeah, that's today's. I'm looking forward to this one. I have high hopes. We're gonna get this cracked gently. All right. And then poured right in our nice tall all-purpose glass. Oh yeah, that's pouring beautifully. Don't need to get too aggressive. It's got no problem here forming a head, so I'm gonna angle it back again, slow it down. And we're not gonna put that whole beer in there. So let's just, oh wow, big aromas already coming off of this. Wow, 1.5 feet away. It is pungent, pungent aromas. Visually, it is a true bright, deep golden yellow color. It's got very active carbonation, very tight, tiny champagne-like bubbles coming up, which clearly contributed to this lush, thick, creamy head that is before me. So let's get right up over this for a full sniff. Oh wow, yeah. Boy, there's a lot happening on this aroma. There's tropical fruit, there's pine, there's kind of floral accents, there's earthy accents, there's citrus. I mean, this is one of those everything but the kitchen sink aromas on an IPA. It's got every classic aroma you could possibly expect to potentially find on an IPA in a single beer here. So there's kind of berries, there's strawberries, blueberries, there's raspberries, there's lemon, there's grapefruit, there's blood orange, there's kind of fresh flower, there's kind of earthy, there's kind of grass. I mean, it's everything but the kitchen sink in terms of aroma, and it is pungent. It smells absolutely incredible. With this laundry list of hops, I don't know exactly what ratios they used, obviously, but I have a pretty good idea. It's going to be very complex in the flavor profile as well. And yeah, so look, this looks amazing. It smells amazing. A collaboration on a new sub-style of IPA by two of my favorite Washington State brewers. Let's just jump right in and see what this is about. Oh, there it is. Oh man, that is a delicious beer. Wow. Okay, so yeah, this is a very nice beer drinking experience. So before we even get into this flavor profile, let's talk body, let's talk mouthfeel. 7.5% on an IPA. This is a big, full medium. It's got real presence to it. It definitely has a weightier presence than maybe you would expect for just 7.5%. It's got real presence. It is a true full medium. It's got heft. In terms of the mouthfeel, you can feel that resistance. This one does get very silky, very creamy when you move around the palate. And I can tell you that when you swallow, there is a noticeable bit of dryness you don't often find in an IPA. And that was part of the intended kind of offshoot of this hybrid new sub-style of IPA. Take a lot of these clean, crisp qualities that you get from a lager, but put them in an IPA. And yeah, it makes for a very, very enjoyable beer drinking experience indeed. So I gotta say that the flavor profile in this is equally as complex as the aroma is on it, and it's equally as pungent. So when I first swallowed, before I even got the sense of the bitters, it was just kind of a burst of, I mean, almost every kind of potential flavor you might find in an IPA. It's bringing a lot to the table. There's earthiness, there's resin, there's pine. That really does come more on the back end. Up front, there's a big burst of tropical fruit. There's a big burst of kind of berries and citrus. It literally does taste just like it smells. So you're getting orange, you're getting grapefruit, you're getting zest, you're getting citrus oil, you're getting strawberry, you're getting pineapple, you're getting stone fruit, blueberries, strawberries. I mean, it's all in here. Plus earthiness, plus pine, plus resin and tar. I mean, this is an absolute IPA lover's dream of an IPA right here. And I don't make that statement lightly. This is one of the most impressive IPAs I've had in recent memory. I mean, this is just incredible. What they did with this, bravo. Fremont Bale Breaker, y'all should get together more often. I love both of you individually, but this IPA really is a work of art for my money. So yeah, big, bold, pungent, layered, complex aroma and flavor profile. What about the bittering? Well, they use some high alpha acid content hops in here. And yeah, they didn't go over the top. Clearly, they did a lot of dry hopping to draw out a ton of that aroma, but there's enough in there in the boil that it did extract some alphas. If I had to put a number to it, if I just had to guess, I would say 50 to 65, somewhere in that range. It's got a nice bitter bite to it, but it's not over the top. And the bitters don't drown out all of the nuance of the flavor profiles of the hops that they used in here as well. So the balance on this, for my money, is exceptional. Guys, this is complex. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to process. So I'm obviously going to have to jump back in anyway. Let's do a second sip. I'll pick apart anything else that I might have missed, and then we'll talk about the finish. But on first sip, this is an absolute winner of an IPA. Take two. Big burst of flavor. Citrus. I'm getting stone fruit. I'm getting berries. Now I'm starting to get some kind of melon, cantaloupe, honeydew-like qualities. This underlying earthiness starts coming through. Once I get between the 5-10 second mark, the pine and the resin and the tar starts to open up. Some of those bolder, fruitier accents start to dial back a little bit. Then it starts to lead with this earthy, resinous quality. Yeah, guys, this is just tremendous. IBU's nice kick of bitters. You know you're drinking an IPA when you're sipping on it, but the way that it develops, it's almost like it gets progressively more bitter the longer it lingers after each sip. And the intensity of these bright, fresh, kind of fruity characteristics dial back. The IBUs just seem to intensify, at least on my palate. It does a very good job of coating the palate as well. In terms of the finish, yeah, it actually is a little bit cleaner than your typical IPA. There is a little bit of truncation, a little bit of dryness. So this kind of taking inspiration from a lager, I can definitely see it. So if I had to guess, I would guess that they did use a combination of both ale and lagering yeast, though I don't know because they didn't say. That's just my suspicion, because I'm getting a lot of character traits you would find in a standard IPA, which, yes, a lot of that comes from hops, but a lot of that also comes from the yeast. But there's this clean crispness to it that really you don't find in an IPA, but you do find in a lager. So that would be my guess. I don't know for certain, but that's what I'm getting. So yeah, even with that nice crispness, that slight truncation, that slight dryness, it does do a very good job of coating pungency on the palate, and it really is the bitters that push this one way, way, way out longer than your average IPA. It may not be, you know, on like, if I had to guess, 100 IBU territory, but again, these are all perception. It's all, you know, it really is how does it perceive to your palate. And where I guessed 50 to 65, it seems to increase from there over time as the finish kind of continues to explore its way to the end. So there really is nice lingering bitters on the end. And on this one, it's a lingering mix of kind of pine tar, pine resin, and earthiness. That's what I'm left with on the palate. And it really does linger long after each sip. It is pushing 2 minutes, which is very, very long on a IPA at my at least initial perceived IBUs. So yeah, guys, this is just a tremendous IPA. I got this one from Tavour. I'm really glad that I grabbed it when I saw it drop. This is one of the best IPAs I've had in quite some time. I'm going to take my time, sip on this, count my scores. When we come back, we will get this beer ranked from top to bottom. All right, now that we've gotten to enjoy this beer, we're going to get it ranked. This was a collaborative beer brewed by Fremont Brewing Company and Bale Breaker Brewing Company, both based in Washington State. The beer was called Cultivision, and it was a cold IPA, a sub-style of IPAs. This one clocked in at 7.5% ABV. So yeah, guys, both really great brewers. I've had a lot of beers by Fremont and a lot of beers by Bale Breaker. Individually, they're great. But looks like when they put their heads together, their greatness just gets combined. This beer had it all for me. Body, texture, mouthfeel, aroma, the flavor, the balance. It was the whole package. And this is yet again another one of those tiny, tiny cluster of beers. We don't need to go through all the scores because this did get a perfect 10 out of 10 in all 10 categories. So aroma, taste, body, mouthfeel, finish, head and retention, appearance, balance, my subjective thoughts, and example of style. Guys, this was really IPA perfection for my money. It absolutely needed no tweaking whatsoever. This was a truly, truly spectacularly good beer. Been quite a while since I've had an IPA this good, though I can't say I'm surprised. These are two big powerhouse brewers that came together to make a singular beer. And yeah, this one is top tier, guys. If you're an IPA fan, absolutely worth the time to seek out. I got mine from Tavour. If you've never had this new sub-style cold IPA, I definitely recommend it. It's a very, very cool thing. I hope to find more of these out in the market that I can test and see what I think. But this one is an absolute winner. Folks, that is today's review. As always, I do sincerely appreciate you tuning in today. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to stay in the loop when our videos go live, just turn on your notifications by hitting that bell icon. Until next time, keep it beer, keep it craft. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.